Here we go. We are live. This is so exciting. We haven't done that many live streams here on Hallmarkies Podcast, but I thought that it was appropriate to do so. Talk about the strike, how it's impacting us, what we have planned going forward, what you can expect. Get to answer any of your questions, and if you feel so inclined, you could put in a super chat. That is an option, and that would be very helpful, especially right now in these uncertain times. Any support that you can give the podcast is so appreciated, but you can also put in your comments in the live chat and in your questions, and I can take them. It's just me for this one, but and I don't know how long this lasts. It might only be like 10 minutes. It might be an hour. I don't know. But anyway, we are going to talk about what is going on now. It's kind of an interesting situation because, and I do not purport to be an expert on the strike or the guilds or what's happening. I just know how it's impacting us. So what's interesting is that you have the Screen Actors Guild voting to go on strike, and so the list of things that the actors cannot participate in is quite lengthy, and one of the things on that list includes podcast appearances, and so that basically means that we won't be able to interview anybody in the Screen Actors Guild uh, until the strike is settled. We do have 2 interviews already recorded that we're going to put a disclaimer on, that I've talked to them, and we are going to be able to air those. Plus, I have 2 more interviews that I did at Christmas Con that are really short, that are under 10 minutes. So those won't be like a full episode of the podcast, but they will be aired. I have an interview with Taylor Cole from Christmas Con, and I have an interview with Victor Webster from Christmas Con. So we'll be airing both of those. Like I said, those are both under 10 minutes. So I don't think it'll even go on the actual podcast feed. It'll just be here on YouTube. So you want to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. We did just get over 6K subscribers, because almost all of our YouTube has actually been doing very well this summer, which is very exciting. But almost all of our viewers are non-subscribers. So if you're one of those people, please subscribe. It really helps the algorithm a lot, and it helps us a lot. And so please don't just view, please subscribe. But anyway, that is something that sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so they are not allowed to make podcast appearances. I was trying to find the list of different things that they're not allowed to do. They're also not supposed to do like conventions or things. Here, let me show you. I just one sec. I'll share. Okay, so you can see on here this list: tours, personal appearances, interviews, conventions, fan expos, festivals, for your consideration events, panels, premiere screenings, award shows, junkets, podcast appearances, social media, and studio showcases. So that definitely means we cannot interview anybody from the Screen Actors Guild until this is figured out. Like I said, we have an interview with Andrea Brooks that will air on Monday that we have already recorded previous. And I talked to her, and got her permission. She's technically in the Canadian Screen Actors Guild, but she did give permission with a disclaimer for us to air it. And then we also have an interview with the actor Jason McKinnon, who you definitely will recognize when you see him. But I talked to him and he got permission. He talked to his agent. And so we can air both of those. So we have those. And like I said, the three, we already aired the Jesse Metcalf interview from Christmas Con. We have two more that we will be airing. But after that, there will be no more actor interviews. And I'm not sure how it's going to impact Hallmark because it is a US actor strike and most of their films are, Canadian actors and are filmed in Canada. So they may be able to, that might be a loophole. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this, so don't come to me. But I know that the part of the reason why like Lacey Chabert and some other people weren't at Christmas Con was because they were trying to get all of the movies filmed before the strike. So I don't know how much it'll affect Christmas this year for Hallmark. And some people were like, oh, well, they can just make a separate deal. Again, I'm not an expert, but I don't think they can do that because Hallmark has the main problem. Well, there's two big things that, as far as my understanding, that the strike is about. The one is the residuals and royalties for streaming, which is currently like zero for almost everybody in these streaming shows. And then the other thing is AI, that people can create an AI of actors and without their permission and use them, and trying to get some rules and in place so that doesn't happen. And I was reading that they wanted to make it part of the contract that for a background actor that they can create an AI, only have to pay that person one time, and without their consent, duplicate their presence in a background, and in as many movies going forward. Like that's crazy and scary. It's a big problem. It's a big problem. And the thing is that the model for streaming was inherently flawed because they would make as much in a whole month as they would make on one movie ticket. But the reason why the studios dove in is because they had 100% control and of the profits and proceeds, as opposed to a movie ticket where part of it goes to the theaters, part of it got points on the from the actors, director, depending on who's involved. And I mean, that's why someone like Scarlett Johansson sued Disney over Black Widow, was because when they released it to Disney Plus, she did not receive the profit that she would have otherwise received if it was a normal release. And obviously that's like kind of an extreme example, but like that's the problem that all of the actors are facing, and most of them don't have the 6-figure contracts that someone like Scarlett Johansson has. So Becky says, thank you. Yes, the model for streaming is flawed, definitely. And so they could spend these insane budgets on these like Netflix and other streaming services on their movies and shows, and it still made economic sense for them because they were gaining 100% of the profits. They weren't having to split it, and that's why they're fighting so much that's why they're fighting so much against these strikes, is because of because they've had the full pot of money And without that, the streaming model starts to make way less sense from their perspective. And but now they've invested, and the other problem is that they've conditioned viewers to expect it, to want it, to think that's the norm, to think that these budgets make sense. All that stuff has now been you've conditioned into people. People expect it, and it's, I don't know. It's a total mess. And this is why, I mean, we're gearing in for the long haul because, I mean, again, no inside information. I have no idea, but just by the way that like Bob Iger and others are talking, the how little progress has happened with the writer's strike, and so now you have writers and actors. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this thing goes till at least Halloween. And again, that would obviously really impact Hallmark because they start, before Halloween with these Christmas movies. But I think we won't necessarily feel a lot of the ramifications of the strike. I don't think we'll necessarily feel it as much this year as we will feel it next year, not just for Hallmark, but for everyone. I mean, you definitely got to feel bad for these projects that were mid filming, that having to stop, like the new Gladiator movie, I believe. Deadpool 3 was in the middle of shooting. A couple other, I can't think off the top of my head, but a couple other films. And so, that sucks for everybody involved working on those projects. I don't know what is filming as far as Hallmark is concerned. And I think they might have a loophole because it's Canada, not most of their stuff is filmed in Canada. But yeah, I don't, I haven't heard anything. I haven't read anything. I think that When Calls the Heart is filming now, but again, they might have that loophole because of Canada. But if they did, they would have a problem with Erin, because she's not Canadian. So that would be a problem. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And I mean, we certainly are behind the actors and writers getting the compensation that they deserve, because, I mean, it is kind of crazy when you think about David Zaslav is making like, what is it, 700 something $1,000 every day, and which is just crazy because I think he's making like a ton of terrible decisions. And does anybody deserve to be making that much money every single day? I I mean, I think what I could do would just literally $1,000 if I got like if I got a $1,000 Patreon pledge or something like that, like I would die. I would be so uh, it would and so it's just, I don't know, it's just wild. But thanks for checking in. Really appreciate it. Like I said, I have the chat room open. I've got you can do a super chat if you want, if you have a particular question or comment. So like I said, we have 2 more interviews, and then we have the 2 Christmas Con interviews. So 4 total with actors that still have yet to be aired. So that's coming up. And we could possibly have interviews going forward with like directors, producers, maybe something like that. That's a possibility. But what we've decided to do for that Monday slot, and we may also still have book authors, because we work with Baker Bookhouse. They sponsor the podcast a lot. I really enjoy them. I really enjoy talking to the authors. So that may be coming as well. But as far as our normal Monday interview slot, our plan is to actually, we are going to start a new series of rankings. That's going to be since we can't do interviews for for the most part. We are going to me and Terry, who was my co-host for the Royal Holiday Ranking podcast. We are going to be doing every week a Hallmark or Hallmark adjacent ranking, maybe some Netflix in there. We have some ideas we've been brainstorming, and so I'm really excited about it. The irony of it all is that it might actually end up doing better for us than the interviews. The interviews actually usually don't do that great. There's some like the Michael Rady one, which was also a ranking, did incredibly well. I think it is actually our most successful video on YouTube ever. Uh, and then some, like anything with Heartland, those interviews do super well. Um, so there, some of the interviews do well, but for the most part, our weekly recaps on Wednesdays do better than the interview. And I really enjoy doing the interviews. I enjoy talking to people. I feel like it's something I'm good at. So I value doing them, but just as far as nuts and bolts, I think rankings will probably actually do a little bit better. And I really do enjoy that as well. And the nice thing about doing the rankings is that they don't require a ton of extra work, because usually, like, we've seen all the movies or close to all of them. We have one coming up we're going to do on Christmas in July movies, and I have two that I have to watch for that. So not too bad. So that's really, nice, as opposed to like recaps where you gotta watch all and take notes and everything. You don't have to do that for the rankings. And so that's nice. Yeah. Right, because his rankings are the best. People on YouTube love rankings. So I feel like this is a pretty creative solution to the problem, and hopefully y'all will enjoy it, and it won't feel like too much of a loss. The fact that we're not going to be doing interviews much anymore. Like I said, we'll still have the author interviews on occasion. We'll still have, we might be able to get like directors, producers, other people like that, but we won't be able to have writers or actors on for a little while. And so that's interesting. Let's see here. I want to see a ranking of Hallmark movies with dogs. I loved Love to the Rescue. You all know I loved Love to the Rescue so much. Speaking of that Michael Rady ranking, that would be fun. I'd be up for that. There's some terrible ones with dogs. That one with Jen Lilly. Oh my gosh, that was so bad. Yeah, there are some really bad ones. But I feel like Terry and I have really a nice chemistry together. I feel like it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll probably have some guests and stuff, and for different topics come in for to do that. The one thing I'm still not 100% sure about is that it does say podcast appearances, and I think we're okay with Jax coming on to continue to recap and just like that. She is a member of SAG. I'm not 100%. I want to, obviously I want to make sure, because I don't want her to get in trouble. She's checking into it. But I'm hoping that we can at least, finish it off, even though an excuse to not watch that show is welcome. But, me, I'm a completionist. So like, I want to finish it, and I couldn't imagine doing it with anybody else but her. So, anyway, that is something I'm still trying to figure out, if that counts as a podcast appearance, because it wouldn't be in promotion of anything. It would just be as a guest. So that's something that we're still trying to figure out. Could do the 5 worst. Yeah, I mean, we definitely could do like, I think what we probably will do is like overrated. We could do like the worst. Something I've thought about for a long time is actually doing the worst Hallmark movies. I know it would get a lot of hits, but we do try to stay more positive. So I thought about doing it as like a patron benefit, is like a special episode of like the worst. Um, um, the like I mean, I think people know which ones are the worst. Like Home by Spring, absolutely atrocious. It's so bad. But people do like it when I suffer. So, um, it's something I thought about. But this actually brings up another good point. Uh, but snarky is fun on occasion. Home by Spring. Home by Spring is absolutely atrocious. It's a horror movie in disguise. Y'all don't remember it because it was so bad. But uh, yeah, I've thought about doing it as a patron benefit, a worst of video, but it's something I'm still thinking about, contemplating. So yeah, put in your ranking ideas. We have a pretty good list, I think. We're obviously going to be doing the non-holiday royal that will be coming up in August sometime, and I don't want to share our whole list, but we had some pretty good ones, I think, and they won't all be Hallmark. They like we talked about ranking the Nicholas Sparks movies. I thought that would be kind of fun. So that kind of stuff. So share your ideas. Let us know. But as far as the Patreon, obviously this won't have an impact on the watch-alongs. We're still trying to figure that out with Mercedes. She's talking to her people, and um, that was our next one scheduled for the 26th to watch Well Suited for Christmas. I'm thinking what we might do if she's not allowed, if it counts as an appearance, even though we're not broadcasting it, and it's not a promotion of anything new, just a service thing. So I think it might be okay. I just don't know. But if we have to cancel, we may just have the watch along just with us, just for fun, because I love that movie. And then in the future, I might try to have directors, producers on. I don't know. I also thought about doing like a classic Christmas movie watch along. You could hear sort of my commentary on like It's a Wonderful Life, or something like that. That might be fun. I don't know. If you have suggestions for the patron, then let me know, because obviously that's out of our control. And we also have every week for the Patreon, we have the AFI Passions reviews. We're now over the 50 mark, so we're over halfway done that series. You can get it every Sunday. I just like yesterday wrote up the Sleepless in Seattle post for Sunday, and boy, that movie holds up. It holds up. It is so well written. I was really impressed this go around with how great the writing is in that movie, and how she talks about grief and loss in such an eloquent and beautiful way. How great the banter is between the leads and the side characters. Obviously, they don't have any banter or chemistry really together until the very, very end. But the dialogue is really strong in that movie. And so it was a lot of fun to write about. And I've enjoyed this whole experience. I don't know, how much the patrons have read them, or, I haven't gotten much feedback on them, but I think with both the watch-alongs and the AFI project, it's like the best ideas I have. If people have other ideas of what would be meaningful for the patron, let me know. I'm more than open. I know a lot of Patreons do live streams, but I just never really felt like there would be enough interest from the patrons that people would come. I don't know. I'm more than open to doing them if people want them. And so, yeah, I guess maybe this would be a test of that as well. But it's just kind of, this is my ideas, and but I'm open to other ideas. But I would be surprised after this with Mercedes if we have a patron watch along with an actor for a while. Let's see here. Going back and doing rewatch watch alongs of the Murder She Baked series would be fun, or ranking of those would be great. And I don't know if you know this, Becky, or if you just randomly picked that, but I have not seen any Murder She Baked. When we first started the podcast, they had finished, I think, that initial run, and I was really not a big fan of the mysteries when we first started. I didn't really even want to cover them, but Amber kind of pushed me to cover them, and I've definitely grown to appreciate them now. I mean, at first they just felt kind of obvious and just not that clever, but Garage Sale Mysteries was the first ones that I ever really liked. And but again, I haven't seen The Murder She Baked, and it's just hard. Like once you're behind on a series, like catching up, especially when they're like so many movies and they're so long, and I have so many movies that I have to watch. It's just hard to catch up. And I heard this last one was not very good. People didn't like it very much. So that's disappointing. But so that might be fun. Sorry. That might be fun with to do a watch along with the Murder She Baked, since I've never seen them. It might be fun. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, if you have any, especially like I said, ranking ideas, put them in the comments. We want to hear. If you have particular co-hosts that you'd be interested in having come on for a ranking. Well, we have enough Mahogany movies that I think I'm going to see if the girls could do a ranking of those. That they have recapped at least. Now they just, I think they just had their 7th one, so I feel like that's enough. Because they've done some like just last, they did The Perfect Find for a Mahogany episode. I think that would be fun. I always have a good time with Elise with Elisa doing our rankings of the On Friendship that we do, because in my opinion, like rankings are a lot more fun when there's like a little bit of randomness thrown in there. That like I don't really enjoy doing rankings of like ranking the DC movies, because my feelings for a lot of franchises are about the same. Or there'll be like one that I really love and then the rest I'm like, eh. And so I don't think those are that interesting or fun. I think it's a lot more interesting to rank a bunch of stuff that's really different, and so you're just trying to, what do I, like about it, this or that, or it's a lot harder, but I think it's more interesting. And so when we rank our On Friendship episodes, it's pretty challenging because all these movies are quite different that we talk about for On Friendship, and so that's just my personal preference when it comes to rankings. Let's see here. The Murder She Baked. They're really fun, cozy mysteries at their best. Alison Sweeney is just so likable. But a strike offers a great excuse to catch up. Very true. Very, very true. And I have so much television to catch up on. I haven't seen Ted Lasso. I haven't seen like season 3. I don't know. There's just a million shows that people are always talking about that I haven't seen. I still haven't seen Stranger Things season 4. It's so long. But yeah. So also another new recap to announce is Michelle and I are going to recap All Creatures Great and Small. We're actually recording we're recording tomorrow recap episodes 1, 2, and 3 of season 1. So that's going to be fun. I absolutely love that show. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's great. So that's going to be coming up. We also have one called The Heart that's going to be starting soon. So that will be, a lot of fun to recap. And we're going to have Caroline and Mary on for those recaps for one calls the Hallmarkies. And talking with Andrea, I'm kind of glad we got her in because it sounds like it's going to be a very interesting season for One Calls the Heart. I was expecting them to be kind of winding down, with things. I mean, I was really surprised when they announced season 11, just because it just feels like Hallmark has started jettisoning all the things that were in the Abbott era, and I feel like When Calls the Heart is part of that. And so I just expected with season 10, it just I thought that was going to be it. And but then they announced season 11, and they announced it so early, so that was very surprising to me. But according to Andrea, she said that it's not a winding down season, it's a building up season, that there's a lot happening. And so that was intriguing to me. I think it's going to be a pretty good season of When Calls the Heart. So looking forward to that. What else? Oh, I'm sorry. So I think, did I just cover everything? But yeah, we should be as busy as ever. It just, you're not going to have as many interviews, which, makes me sad. But you can have a lot of other good stuff, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we got rankings coming on. That's going to be the new Monday episodes. We've got When Calls the Heart coming. We have All Creatures Great and Small coming, recaps coming. We're going to be finishing out, hopefully, cross fingers, and just like that. If for if Jax figures out that she can't do it, then I think what I'll probably do is just do some kind of little video review of the final episodes of the season. Oh my gosh. Oh. I mean, that's the crazy thing, is that I can't watch shows that I actually want to watch, but I have to watch, and just like that. But yeah, there's so many shows that people tell me on a daily basis that I need to watch that I just don't have time to watch. You think about people telling me to watch Succession, people telling me to watch The Bear, people telling me to watch every day there's a show. but yeah. So let's see here. All Creatures is wonderful, yay. If the strike continues for a while, Poldark would be another great show to recap. 5 seasons, but they're fairly short. Great historical romance drama. Just an idea. Cool. I like that idea. I've seen some Poldark. I like that show. We do have I think Terry would be a good co-host if we ever wanted to recap Outlander. That's fun. That might be a good one to do in this as a City Girls Pod replacement. But I don't want to use Terry too much, even though I love her. One thing is kind of fun, assuming it doesn't get canceled because of strike. I think it's the 21st to the 23rd is FanX Salt Lake, and we have a panel we're going to be doing at FanX Salt Lake called The Power of Christmas Movies. And Mary's going to be on there with me. And then 2 friends of hers who have Christmas podcasts are going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about Hallmark Christmas movies, other Christmas movies. And so if you are in the Salt Lake, Utah area, you definitely want to get your passes to FanX and check out that panel. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. It's my first one that they ever approved. So I think we covered pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. Just look forward to rankings, to not having as many interviews until the strike is solved. and but we'll still have our normal recaps, previews, and the recaps have been doing super well lately. I really thought that the recap with Hannah and Katie turned out really good of the wedding movies. I was very happy about that one. We'll still be covering Up TV, and in fact, I actually sent emails to our contacts at Hallmark, Up TV, Lifetime, saying like, now that the actors are not allowed to do any publicity of any kind, including even social media. And so I told them, I said, we could be your hype team. We could do what the actors can't do right now and promote your upcoming films. So, and I actually have a meeting scheduled on Monday to talk to some people about that. And so that could be cool. And we'll see. So you always try in life to flip a negative into a positive, and see if you can learn something from whatever you're experiencing. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this, is take something that's a negative, not being able to do interviews, strike, and try to kind of flip it and make it a positive. Obviously it's not a positive for the people striking and out of work. That's bad. But you take the hand you're dealt, right? The cards you're dealt. And so that is all I have. I think if anybody has last minute comments, questions, but I just wanted y'all to know what was happening. And if you were like, wait, where's all the interviews? That is why, is because we are not allowed. So yeah, that's the story. So let me know what you think about these ideas. I would really appreciate it. If you have other ideas, like I said, I love the Poldark idea. If you have other shows that you think would be a good fit for Hallmark and Hallmarkies, then let me know. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all later. Thanks so much for your support, and check out the Patreon. That is the biggest way that you can support us, especially in this time. I think it's the biggest bang for your buck of any Patreon I've seen. You get weekly reviews, exclusives, interaction with us, and you get the watch-alongs every month. I just think it's really great. So check it out, and we have thanks for the update, Rachel. Looking forward to seeing upcoming episodes. Thank you so much. And we really appreciate all the support. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.